Good morning, good morning, good morning, everybody. Excuse me very, very, very much for that. Anyway, top of the morning to you. Top of the morning to you. So today, if you haven't already noticed, it's Christmas everywhere we go. Yep. So we've got some information we wanted to share with everybody about how you go about and get your stimulus check. A lot of reading I've been doing. First of all, gotta drink more coffee. This is the bigger version of my coffee mug than normal. It was the most accessible cup in the cupboard. I obviously haven't. It's actually a nice cup. I think this was a Goodwill find. What's up, Skeets? So this morning's program is brought to you by Nescafe, the instant blend of coffee for you coffee lovers that are always in a hurry. They are not paying for this ad or this video in any way, shape, or form. I am not being compensated for this product. However, Nescafe Cafe, if you are interested in a spokesperson, I'm your man. I actually got this yesterday, or I'm sorry, the day before. It's the French roast, $4.99 with a coupon, so $3.99 out the door. Heck yeah, I'm a shopper. That's for sure. So what I wanted to get into is real quick. I don't even know if this is going to be real quick. I'm just going to go into another tab here. So I was reading some articles, and one of them that caught my eye. This is going to give you information on how to go about getting your stimulus check, and hoping we're both going to learn. We're all going to learn this at the same time because I don't know exactly. I have to do this for my wife. This is an article that was from Yahoo Money. Put the link down below. It's a reporter from there that I will link to give credit for the hard work that the journalism is going through. In some cases, it's a little over the top, but in this case, it's very informative. And I thought this ought to be shared. This has to be shared with everybody. So we're going to go ahead and do that. So I'm not ignoring the chat. I'm going into another tab to read this tidbit of information and record this so that you guys can go back and refer to it. As I said, this article is regarding how to get your stimulus check. So it says many Americans will get government checks up to $1,200 to help them financially weather job loss, reduction of hours, and other money challenges that the country is going on. About this up. Okay, but when taxpayers will receive their checks, it depends on what banking information the Internal Revenue Service has on file for them. So here's what we need to do. So basically, the IRS does not have your information on file. And I was told, and this doesn't state it yet in the article, I was told it was going to be going off the 2018 taxes. However, I will go on about their additional information that they mentioned in here. Excuse me. When will the stimulus checks arrive? Well, it depends. The Treasury State Stephen Munich, or whatever his name is, Munuchin. So I'm going to show a little respect. So Steve, over since today is the 4th of April, that those Americans who have signed up for direct deposit will receive their payment within 2 weeks. Okay, this is quote unquote from Stephen's little speech he gave on Thursday with President Trump standing behind with his fake tan looking all manly and stuff. Social Security, you'll get it very quickly after that, he mentions. If you don't have your information, you'll have a simple web portal that you'll be able to upload, and you'll be able to go through that. So I can just imagine how that's going to be a real pain in the ass to deal with the portal that you're supposed to be able. So basically, IRS has your information. They're going to send your stimulus check for an adult of $1,200 to your account, to your bank. Now, I would imagine you're going to have issues with people that don't have accounts, which I'm sure this probably will mention. And then I'm also thinking too, if you have garnishments, uh, levies, things of that nature, are options to have federal taxes taken out, but garnishments are still being taken. Why is that? Because some of us are responsible, I guess. I don't know. And it's my duty. So let's close this out. The payments will be deposited directly into your bank account. If you received your last tax refund or expect to receive this year's tax refund. Okay, so here we go. Here's the tax information. So if you received your tax return via the IRS via direct deposit, I would imagine, doesn't specifically say it, but if you got it in 2018 that way, that's how you're going to get your stimulus check. If you expect to receive the 2019 refund, you'll also get it that way too. It doesn't say that. That's just me saying that because of what I've also read. It goes on saying, as I quote, you'll also be able to provide your banking details online once the portal is set up according to the IRS. Okay, there's a link to that. So I'm going to click that link, see what the IRS. All right, so under the IRS.gov newsroom. Okay, so here it is. IRS.gov/newsroom/economic hyphen impact hyphen payments hyphen what hyphen you hyphen need hyphen to hyphen no. Okay, anyway, on the IRS website, it says economic impact payments, what you need to know. It goes on, who is eligible, how will the IRS know where to send your payment? Okay, here it goes. The vast majority, this is from the IRS website page now, from that article we're reading. How will the IRS know where to send my payment? The vast majority of people do not need to take any action. The IRS will calculate and automatically send the economic impact payment to those eligible. For people who have already filed their 2019 tax returns, the IRS will use this information to calculate the payment amount. For those who have not yet filed their return for 2019, the IRS will use information from their 2018 tax filing to calculate the payment. The economic impact payment will be deposited directly into the same bank account reflected on your tax filed, word for word from Uncle Sam. All right, so there you go. So that information is clear. What other information do you think we need to know? Am I not typically required to file? Okay, here we go. Here's us is. Am I not typically required to file a tax return? Can I still receive my payment? Yes, says the IRS. We'll use this information on the form SSA 1099 or form RRB 1099. So your 1099 to generate economic impact payments to recipients or benefits reflected in the form of an SS. So if you got 1099 and you didn't make enough money, apparently, you will probably still be able to file. Now, here's what I'm going to do. I'm still going to send my wife to file a 1040 easy online through Credit Karma. It's free. I just want her to be able to at least file. I think it's clogging the system. I see that, but in a situation like this, she doesn't get a 1099, so that doesn't apply to her. She doesn't file for taxes. She hasn't filed for taxes in 6 years, so there's a little bit of an issue there. So I'm going to have her go back as far as she can and file those tax returns with zero goose eggs. I still haven't looked into that yet. I mean, I'm thinking about that's how we were supposed to get her the stimulus money that all the Americans are apparently getting. So the social, let's see, this includes senior citizens, Social Security recipients, and railroad retirees who are not otherwise required to file tax returns. So there you go. Senior citizens, Social Security recipients, and railroad retirees are not required to file tax returns, since the IRS would not have information regarding any dependents of these people. Each person would receive 1,200 per person without the additional amount for any other dependents at that time. That's the importance of it, I think, that she needs to file a tax return with the dependents on there so that she can get eventually down the road, or myself in this case, the dependent child credit. Now, I just think it makes it a little bit easier for everyone to file if you don't have an income and you're on assistance, or if you don't have an income and you're self-employed, there's some issues there. But in my case, my dependent doesn't work. She's a stay-at-home mom. She does a very good job at that. She doesn't get paid for what she does. I think she's going to have to do the 1099. I think that's the case on that one. So that answers that question. So as we go on, the rest of the information, it says otherwise checks will be mailed. So if you're not going to get your stimulus check from the IRS based upon the 2018 and 2019 taxes, or the 1099 for individuals that qualify for not having to file taxes because they got the SSA and the ABC 123 or whatever that 1099 form was, basically, we'll just call it the 1099 for simplicity. You're going to get a check mailed. Okay, what if you don't have a banking account? Well, looks like those payday loan people are store just cashing checks. Charge 1 to 2%. Anyway, checks will be mailed, which could take longer to get to Americans. Adding to the complications, about 6% of U.S. adults, or 12, it just says that, about 6% of U.S. adults, or about 12 million. I think that might be a typo. I'm not sure. I think it's supposed to say about 12 million Americans, because it says it twice. Do not have checking or savings or any other bank accounts, according to the 2018 Federal Reserve report. Holy crap! That's a lot of money just sitting out there. I see scams coming. I see a lot of scams coming with all this. We're going to check in with the chat real quick. Tell me what you guys think so far. You think there's going to be some scamming going on? I think there's going to be some scamming going on. Definitely. For sure. So basically, just to recap real quick, I've got some more information to share with you. The stimulus checks are on their way. And as we go on about that, I'm going to share with you when they're coming. So the New York Times cited the IRS guidelines that detail how Americans who aren't usually required to file tax returns will need to do so to receive payments. Okay, here we go. So let's go over that one more time. This is in the beginning of another paragraph. It says the New York Times cited IRS guidelines that detail how Americans who aren't usually required to file tax returns will need to do so to receive payments. Noted the guidelines. Okay, so let's go into the IRS guidelines and let's see what they are. All right, so this is back on the IRS.gov. Economic impact page again, things you need to know, or economic impact payments, what you need to know. Who's eligible? I think we already went over that. The IRS does not have my direct deposit information. Okay, here we go. If the IRS does not have your direct deposit information, what can you do? In the coming weeks, Treasury plans to develop a web-based portal for individuals to provide their banking information to the IRS online, so that individuals can receive payments immediately as opposed to checks in the mail. Okay. Problem, red flag. Time to drink some more coffee. Did I share with you guys my new jar of Nescafe French roast instant coffee? You ask, why do you drink instant coffee, Lobster? Well, for convenience, obviously, at this point in time. It's my friend. And it's in a nice little fancy jar too. I might keep to put coins in or something. I mean, got a nice little plastic lid. So I'm about recycling. All right. Anyway, so you remember when we had the healthcare issue and you had to sign up for the Obama get a free Band-Aid healthcare? Great idea, by the way. I just don't think everything worked out as well as the Canadians have got it. But remember that the surge of people that ran to go sign up for it? It caused a problem. There was a huge problem with logging in. I mean, it was so bombarded, the servers couldn't hold it. I'm wondering if you've got 300 and some odd million freaking little people running around going, help! And according to this, 12 million people, based upon the 2018 IRS Reserve report saying that 6% of Americans don't have checking accounts. There's a reason they don't. They don't want it. Maybe they can't have it. Maybe they owe money. Man up. Grab your bootstraps and pull them up through your nut sacks because it's time to pay. But then again, when it's time to pay, no one wants to pay. But when it's time to get a handout, everyone's in line. Hey, I'm the first to admit it. I'm a person that is very resourceful. If there's a program, I'll sniff it out. I'll utilize it. If I can't, then I move on. But I like to share the information because there are people out there who don't know. And I'm going to tell you this right now. The reason I'm doing this is because information like this keeps me alive, feeds my family, puts a roof over my head, puts fuel in my car, takes my wife to a point where she's not happy because of where we're at, but she'd be far off worse. And so would I if we didn't stay together and try to make it right for our kids. So this is mainly for my kids. So anyway, more coffee we go. So the idea behind all this is to get the information because there's some people out there that just don't know. Like, for instance, the reason I say this, the other day when I was talking to my wife, I said, listen, you're going to get a stimulus check. And I just don't know how you are going to go about getting it because I don't have the information in front of me to process, to figure out how we're going to do that. You haven't filed taxes. And she looked at me like, huh? What? I'm not going to get my $1,200? No, baby. I have no idea, but I'll look into it. Well, I looked into it. And now I'm thinking, there's several ways you can go about it at this point. You can hopefully assume that your 2018 taxes is going to be enough. Or if you're getting a return on your 2019, that's going to go ahead and give you your stimulus check. But the thing is in this case, we have kids. So who's going to use it on their tax return? You can't put kids, I don't think, or I think you can. But they're going to need social security numbers and things of that nature. So I got to figure that out because I can't use half of the children that we have here at the house because they're not legally mine. But I can use the other two, but they got slapped in the face with a huge amount of money to pay over an 18-year period that took place that I was thinking, wait a minute, why didn't you do this during the time instead of waiting? That's California for you. Thank you, California. I love you. But you know what? I went to court and I got half of it slashed. So I'm still paying a little bit of a bet on that. So that goes out every month. Yeah, it is what it is. But you know what? It's for the right reason. It's not like I'm, trying to say, oh, well, I don't think the child deserved it or the mom. I honestly believe the mom over the whole period of time was in the wrong, deceiving. There's a lot of issues there. When I was in the military, she was claiming she was paying rent. Anyway, there's another story to all that. Let's not get off track here. So we're going to go ahead and assume that if you don't have a checking account, you probably should go to the portal and maybe figure this out, or you're going to have to wait a little longer to get the checks according to this, because if you don't even have a mailing address, you're not going to get that either. Hopefully everybody has a mailing address, because if you sell online, I think you're going to have a return address of some sort. So worst case scenario, it's going to take time, and you're not going to get your check right away. But it goes to say that they will be using your information from tax purposes. You can go to the portal, and you can definitely use that resource. I just see it. I see scams on the way. I see people digging up information on dead people. The IRS. I think I hope they're not going to be in a hurry. I hope it's not all ran by a bot, because if you sell on eBay and you sell on Amazon, you know damn well what I'm talking about with these bots. If this is run by a server bot, and you just input your information and it doesn't verify it, I mean, I'm like, say for instance, maybe I shouldn't say this, but if there's information out there that hasn't been put on the deceased list of some sort, there's going to be ones that are going to fall through the crack. I don't know what's going on with that. It's just hurting my head even thinking about it. So they go on with the guidelines saying that, wait, what did we say? The Treasury plans to develop a web-based portal. We already talked about that. So let's see if there's something that we missed. Where can I get more information? The IRS will post all key information on the irs.gov/virus. Okay, as soon as it becomes available. The IRS has a reduced staff, as we all see the same message in its offices, but remains to be committed to helping eligible individuals receive their payments exponentially. Um, Check the updated information rather than calling. Who are processing their 19. So there are limited staff in the office for the IRS, and they're processing everyone's 2019 taxes at the moment. So they're probably not going to answer the phone because you have a question about your free $1,200. So be mindful of that. So we already went over the eligibility. So let's go back to the article. And it says that receive payments noted the guidance will almost certainly mean longer waits for those who must file new returns to be eligible to receive stimulus payment. Okay, so to go back over that again. Let's fix this screen. The New York Times cited that the guidelines and details of how Americans will be usually required to file their taxes will need to do some and receive payments will almost certainly mean longer waits for those who must file. Okay, so if you have to file new, it's going to take longer. Americans with the lowest income will get mailed checks first, according to a report by the Washington Post. Here's the timeline for the first checks per the IRS documents seen by the Post. Taxpayers with income up to $10,000 will receive their check by April 24th. Taxpayers with an income of $20,000 or less will receive their paychecks by May 1st. Taxpayers with income of $40,000 or less will receive their checks by May 15th. And that is all they give us as far as amounts. We'll have to go to the article of the Washington Post. But before I do that, the rest of the checks will be issued by gradually increasing income increments each week. Okay, so then after the 15th, it looks like it's a 2-week. The first surge of checks is on the 24th, and then it's just a 7-day period. Then it goes to May 1st. And then from May 1st, then there's a 2-week waiting period by the 15th. And then it goes on to say that households earning $198,000 who file jointly will get their reduced checks on September 4th. So if you're earning 100, and that's going to be a combined of 2,400. If you made less than $99,000 jointly. So actually, no. I think you still get, wait, hold on. This is from if you made $99,000 or less as one person, you still get $1,200. If you're combined and make 198 jointly, you're still getting it because 99 and 99 is 198. So, yeah, I think there you go. But you won't get yours until September 4th. The last group of checks will be sent out September 11th. How ironic is that? To those who don't have tax information on file and had to apply for checks, according to the Washington Post. Okay, so if you make less, here's a recap. If you make less than 10 grand, you're going to get your check first. So I would imagine people on Social Security, veterans, um, those people that are already in the system, they're going to get theirs too, and low income. I think there's going to be a little cluster of people in that group right there. Then as the 20,000 and then 40,000. So within April 24th to May 15th, you're going to have probably a good portion of America already getting their $1,200 stimulus. Then it's going to be in increments after that. So it's going to probably it goes 10, 20, 40. I don't know, maybe 35 would be the next. I know under federal government standards, if you make less than $76,000 and you have a family of 6, you're poor. So I fit in that category somewhere. So I would imagine probably, I would say in the next 2 months, I should see some activity. So I've got time to get my wife's information in this portal. I've got time to possibly have her file a 1040, even though that's going to take longer. She does have banking information with the IRS, but that was 6 years ago. So we got to figure out what we're going to do. And then hopefully this information will be helpful. But if you're married and you're making under $198,000 together, your check won't be out until the 11th of September of 2020. And if you do not have any information and you're that 6% of America, 12 million Americans that don't have bank accounts, you're going to have to wait, according to the Washington Post. Let's go to the Washington Post ad and see what they had to say word for word. So this Washington Post was posted, let's see, is there a date? It's under WashingtonPost.com politicals IRS to begin issue 1,200 payments. You can look it up on the Washington Post. The payments are to be out by April 9th, according to this, but some Americans won't receive checks until September. 30 million in paper checks for millions of other Americans won't start being sent out until the 24th of April, as the government lacks their banking information. All right, so there you go. You need to get on that and get the banking information sent to the IRS so you can get your money. Get your money. If we have your bank information, you'll get it within 2 weeks. We already went over that. And I think that's, this is a very redundant ad. I'm trying to see if it goes into, the IRS plans to issue about 5 million checks each week. Stimulus checks would be issued on the 4th to joint taxpayer. Okay, so that does the maximum allowed under the stimulus. So that is $198,000 for joint taxpayers is the maximum allowed for the stimulus check. So if you make over that, you're not getting a stimulus check. They're going to make you kick rocks. All others would be sent on the 11th in most cases because the IRS did not have prior tax information for them and they need to apply for the checks. All right, so we got that cleared up. So once again, IRS is going to use the 2018, 2019 tax periods, more so probably the 18 because they're processing the 19 at the moment. They don't want you calling their office. They want you to wait for the portal if you need to apply for the check. If you don't have direct deposit, you'll need a check. If you don't have a bank account to cash that check, you probably would consider maybe applying for the check, because you don't have direct deposit, you don't have an account, you can't have that money go in. The first surge of people are going to be starting on April 24th, and that's for low income. So anybody under $10,000 is going to get the first surge. I don't see any information about dependents, even though it talked about dependents earlier. It didn't give a specific amount. So let's see. Here we go. So back to the original Yahoo Money ad or article. It says, "Who gets stimulus checks?" Our updated estimate is that 93.6% of tax filers will have a rebate, says Garrett Watson, the senior policy analyst of the Tax Foundation. And this works out to approximately 140 million households. That is a hell of a lot of people. We got the tax deadline postponed, which is July 15th. So we have until then to file our 2019 taxes. Your eligibility is based on your most recent tax return and your adjusted gross income. If you already filed your 2019 taxes, your eligibility will be based on that. If not, the Internal Revenue Service will use your 2018 taxes to determine if you qualify. Word for word from Yahoo Money, right there. There we go. So if you didn't file 19, don't worry. Your 18 is going to cover it if you made under $99,000. Yeah, buddy. The benefit is available not only to those who have filed taxes, but also to those who receive Social Security benefits, as long as they receive their SSA 1099 or their RB 1099 forms. So that first surge of people, again, Social Security is going to be within that first group of people. Okay, here we go. Now we're getting into the numbers. Now you got my attention. Single adults with income up to $75,000 will get $1,200 payments. Married couples with an income of up to $150,000 will get $2,400. Single parents who file as head of house will income up to $112,500 will get the $1,200. Okay, so this conflicts with some information that I received earlier. It says single adults with income up to $75,000 will get $1,200. Okay, I was told or saw 99 at one point. Married couples with income up to 150. Now, doesn't that conflict with what we just read up here? Didn't we read that it was 198,000? Okay, going back up to the ad or the article, it says the rest of the check will be issued by gradually increasing income increments each week. Households earning 198,000 who file jointly. Okay, so I have a household. I'm filing jointly, and I make 198,000. We'll get there. Now they use the word. I got an ant crawling on me. They use the word reduced checks. So maybe they're not getting the full 1,200. Those people have to wait until September 4th. And then the last group is people will have to wait to the 11th for the checks, the paper checks. But then as you go further down into the article, it says single parents with income up to 75 will get the 1,200. Married couples with income up to 150 will get the 2,400. Single parents who file head of household will get the 1,200 if they make 112.5. That joint thing has got me. I have to look into that, see what's going on. Story continues. Okay. Additionally, Americans who qualify. Okay, here we go. Americans who qualify for the stimulus payment and have children will get an additional $500 per child under 17. So if your child is 18 years old, guess what? He's now an adult. Reduced checks will be available for single adults who earn between, okay, here we go. This kind of ties into that 198. Reduced checks will be available for single adults who earn between $75,001 and $99,000. Okay, so between 75,001 and $99,000, you're going to get a reduced check. You're not going to get the full 1,200. You have to make less than $75,000 a year to get to $1,200, and married couples who earn between $150,001 and $198,000 will get a reduction. Whatever, it doesn't specify. The check will be reduced by. Okay, so here we go. So for married couples and single adults who earn more than 70. Okay, so if you're single and you make more than $75,000 and under 99,000, you're going to get a reduced check, along with married couples who earn 150,001 to 198,000. Okay, so that upper percentile, the upper 25% of the 100,000 and the 200,000 range, your check will be reduced by $5 for every $100 over of the 75,000 for single and 150. So for every $100 over, you're going to get $95 for every 100 versus getting the full 100. It's not bad. It's still a decent amount of money. So, to be making close to $200,000 a year and still get a stimulus check, I think that's a good deal. Who doesn't get a check? Single adults who make more than 99,000 and married couples who earn more than 198,000 won't receive stimulus checks. Those without social security numbers and non-resident aliens, those who aren't a U.S. citizen or a U.S. national and don't have a green card or have not passed this substantial presence test, aren't eligible. You're also ineligible if your parents claim you as a dependent on your taxes. So the only way that you can get a stimulus check is if you're 17 and older, a U.S. citizen, working to show income, have filed taxes, have something current as far as banking information goes for the IRS to send you the check. You can be married, have children, be single, have children, as long as they meet that parameter. They have to have that information on their side so they can give you that additional $500 for the children under 17. So, all in all, it's not a bad little deal. I can't wait till bread becomes like $8 a loaf, though, because of all of this inflation pumping all this money. How will the government send you the stimulus check? I think we kind of already know the answer to this, but let's go on. The IRS will use the direct deposit information you provided from your taxes you filed either in 19 or 18. If you have no direct deposit information on file, or if the account provided is now closed, the IRS will mail you a check instead, which is going to take forever. You're not going to get it till September in that case. You have direct deposit right now, you can get it soon. I don't know how soon because I don't know your situation, but it's sooner than September. I think. Well, hold on. Let's just continue. If the IRS doesn't have your direct deposit information, you don't. If you didn't include your direct deposit information when filing your taxes, or if you received your Social Security payments by mail, you may be able to do this before checks are sent out. Wait a minute. What? If you didn't include your direct deposit information when filing your taxes, or if you receive your Social Security payments by mail, you may be able to do this before checks are sent out. That's funny that is even mentioned, because recently I filed for unemployment. Okay. Did it online. it was like that. It took 2 weeks to get the information back, but that's the norm. About 7 to 10 days normally, but in this time it was like just a little over 2 weeks. They sent me all this paperwork back. I had to go back and feed it back to the internet in order to like certify my benefits. And in one of the letters that they sent me, they gave me the option. You want it electronically or you want it on paper? And I got to thinking about it for a minute. I mean, the smart side of me was thinking, yeah, give me the card. I'm good. But the critical, paranoid side of me thought about it for a minute. What if the power goes out? I have a card and I need money to get the hell out of town. Or, the baby needs formula or diapers or the cat needs treats. I mean, kitty cats need treats. I'm not going to be able to use the card because the money's going to be in the bank. And if the money's in the bank and the power's out, kitty cats aren't getting treats. So then I thought, well, if I had a check, can't go to the bank, can't cash my check. I really was thinking about that. I mean, if you had direct deposit, you could go to the bank if it was open and pull money out the old-fashioned way. I don't know. I was just overthinking it too much. But anyway, the Treasury plans to create a web-based portal, as we already discussed. It says to provide their banking information online according to theirs. So the Treasury plan, Treasury. U.S. Treasury. I'm going to write that down. Taking notes again. It still hasn't given us a website. U.S. Treasury for wife tax. U.S. Treasury plans to create a web-based portal for individuals to provide their banking details online, according to the IRS. That will help Americans get payments faster rather than waiting for a check in the mail. Okay, we already went over that. Do you have a payback? Do you have to pay back? I would no. No, the stimulus payment is actually a refundable credit against your 2020 tax liability. Okay, wait. Here's the question. Do you have to pay back the stimulus check? The answer is no. Stimulus payment is actually a refundable credit against your 2020 tax liability. According to Keel Permulula, whatever, of the American Enterprise, and is paid out as an advance refund. That means you don't have to wait to file your 2020 taxes to get your money. There you go. That's how they did it. They projected into the future that the average American, whether they pay or they get money, the difference is maybe here. Okay. And I'm saying $1,200 based upon the average amount. See, this is smart. We didn't even realize it. It's a stimulus payment that you're projected to already receive in the future or to give. So your neighbor's giving and you're getting, and between the fence lines, it's this amount. Is America losing money right now? No, but they're borrowing against time. They're borrowing against what Vegas would say the odds. There we go. We just found out how this is all working, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, I love it. That means you don't have to wait to file your 2020 taxes to get the money. It also doesn't reduce any refund you would otherwise receive. So, I mean, I'm sure there's probably some finagling going on in there, and, we'll see what happens. In fact, as we further read, if you don't qualify for a stimulus check now based on your 2018 or 2019 tax returns, you may be able to qualify to take a tax credit next year when you file on your 2020 taxes if your income meets the threshold. There you go. So if you didn't file your taxes in 2018 and 2019 for whatever reason, or you're not filing, or you couldn't file, or if you did and you did and you met the threshold and it's too late or whatever, it doesn't come to you. They have no record of it. You don't have a direct deposit. I mean, all these factors are all piled up into this cluster, right? It says right here, in fact, if you don't qualify for the stimulus check now, so you have limitations on income, you don't have direct deposit, you didn't go to the portal, I guess the direct deposit in a bank account, you could have had a bank account and it was closed. You could go and apply according to this. You may be eligible, or you may be able to qualify to take a tax credit next year when you file for your 2020 taxes. Good to know. Good to know. And that's the end of that. Awesome. I like that. I like that a lot. That's good information. So, in a nutshell, we had an earthquake yesterday. Speaking of shaking, we're not speaking of, but doing a 4.9. And I was actually, it was 6:56 when it went down Pacific time, somewhere in that time frame. So around 7 o'clock. I was sitting here. I was doing something, and I swear to God, this chair is killing my back. I was sitting here, and I felt I wasn't on live or anything, but I felt like somebody went behind me, and I was like creeped out because I was like, oh no, of all the things to go wrong right now, I got freaking ghost in this house now. Come on, seriously, like this shit is getting old. So I immediately, I was just sitting here, I was doing something. I had a lot of paperwork I was going through yesterday, and I looked over here and I was like, I thought it was one of the kids. I was like, wow, that was sneaky. I was like, I was gonna get like, wow, dude, good job. But no. And then all of a sudden I get into the house and I tell my wife, I go, did we just have an earthquake? And I see the water jug in the kitchen on the counter. And we have two of them. And they were both doing this. And my wife was like, oh my God, oh my God. And last night it was weird too, because at around midnight or so, the mother-in-law was leaving the house. And my wife, I was on live with Brandon. And my wife, during the live, my wife's like, hey, come here, come here, come here. So I go outside and she says, there's a fireball in the sky. It's something. It's like fiery. Da, 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 da. So I'm looking up and she's like, look at that. And it's the moon and some clouds. I'm like, well, what the hell? What the hell am I looking at? She goes, you see it right there? Couldn't see it. But apparently there was like this meteor fireball or something in the sky. Or I told her it was the alien zombies that were dropping the pandemic spray. Anyway, so hopefully that gave you guys a bit of information today. So that was good. That's really good. I got some more research to do. It's promising because I was thinking that there was going to be some issues. I have to personally myself, I have to look into using the kids. So for my wife, so she can get the two kids or whatever. So that's I hate to say this, but that's $500 a kid. And right now we could use that money for a deposit to get out of here. That's one of the main things that is strapped us in, because when we started renting this place, we got in on the good buddy system, and I knew it was going to snap me in the ass at some point. And it's kind of a sad story to even say, but it is. Hey, Grillin, what's going on, bro? Jen and Marie, Fat Girl Sewing. Thanks for coming in, guys. But yeah, we're definitely, we're chugging along, man. We're chugging along, and big and chugging. Good morning to you. Afternoon in some cases. And hopefully that information helps you guys out. So don't stress about it. Just do your due diligence and get it done. So if you filed your 18 and 19 taxes already, and you've got the IRS has your direct deposit, and you're low income, your money's coming, supposedly, here within the next couple of weeks for those that are meeting the income levels. There are some regulations on how much money you can make if you're married, if you're single, if you have dependents. So definitely look it up. I will be linking the information down below for the pre-records if you guys making it this far into it without popping out. If you pop out and can't figure it out, hey, I gave you the info. The info's there. And I'm linking all the governmental, I'll link the IRS website to it. So that's probably going to be the best source of information that you could get. I mean, I'm not saying that Yahoo Money isn't viable. I'm not saying the Washington Post isn't viable. I'm not saying the New York Times is, viable information. It is freedom of speech, freedom of press, which I practiced today with the articles that I read. I will be giving credit to those articles, so I'm not plagiarizing the information, just sharing the information to the group and to the masses of people who watch this video. So I am in no way, in shape, or form taking credit for this information. I'm just regurgitating it and practicing my freedom of speech. There you go. Hopefully that releases me from any issues. But hey, my intentions were in good faith, and I'm hoping that it educates the public because I honestly think and believe that there is so much out there that the public can take advantage of and do it rightfully in a time of need, but there's not enough education to share the information. Prime example, I have information right here on the other side of this piece of paper that's going to help me pay for my utilities. The only reason I know this is because I helped out my mother-in-law last night with some information she needed for her rent, only because I know what's going on with the current situation and how things are being handled. She in turn gave me some information to help me pay for my $100 water bill, my $200 electricity bill. And I don't they're not going to probably pay for the internet because the internet is not a necessity, even though when we file taxes, we claim it as an expense because it is a necessity in order to sell online. But at least I'll have means for the time being to assist for my utilities to keep us for another month. And, I've actually applied for housing assistance. At one point in my life, I went to the county of San Diego and said, "Wait a minute, something doesn't smell right here. I need to somebody higher up, and I need to get this figured out." And lo and behold, they had a program that I utilized, and I took advantage of it. They fixed my car. They put tires on my car. They gave me money for a deposit. I put it down on the house. We moved into it. We were displaced for 3 months because the house was infested with mold, and the owner went in and they had some guy or some company going and like start all the drywall and everything. So I ended up having to take advantage of that program. Well, if it wasn't there, I wouldn't have been able to survive. My family would have been on the street. But anyway, long story short, it was about being educated on what is available. And the thing was, is they weren't publicizing it in magazines or on the news, saying, "Hey, we got all this money, come and get it, come and get it." You have to inquire about it. You have to research it. And the sad thing about it is because I was so inquisitive, I have to say that some of the information that I know or knew at that time, I questioned it and how it was being handled. And I ended up going to court over it. And I succeeded. And since then, they've changed it. So I can't say that I take credit for the changing of it, but I think they look at it a little differently now because the way it was being handled, and that's taxpayers' money, they're they came back at me at the second time, and the first time in history, they went from their office to the management company and reclaimed the second deposit. They've never done that before. They were so pissed at me that they went and took my deposit. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Just don't do me wrong. I'll find a way of getting back at you somehow. I'm not bragging about it. I'm just saying that I got kids on the line. Don't f with me. I swear to God. But that's how we handle it. That's how we do it. We research. I love the research. How I am with my products. When I RA a product, I get it. I get it. Get in there. I'm one with the product, man. Love you, baby. You remind me of a very, very special brown little girl I know. Hey, last night we were digging through some Star Wars. Look what we found. Yes. That is a keeper for me right there. That's childhood. Straight up 80s, yo. I don't know when this was made. I'm sure it's not right from the 80s. Looks like 2006. Master Splinter. 2006. Awesome. So he's you know what I might do? I might glue him to the top of this jar. When this jar is empty, I make this a coin jar. And I got some Ninja Turtles around here somewhere, but I don't think they're the same scale. Well, I think the turtles were bigger than Master Splinter. So hopefully that gives you guys some info. So don't forget to do your homework and file your taxes, sort out your direct deposits, because the stimulus checks are on their way. And hopefully you got some of that information. So what's up, Greg? Junk Girl Patty, thanks for coming in. Val, how are you? Awesome. Thank you very much for coming in. Star City Picker, what's going on, man? Thank you, thank you, thank you. Let's see who else has jumped in here. I was chatting for a long time, almost a full hour so far. Um, let's see who else we got. We already said how to grill. So yeah, I will go ahead. Georgina, how are you, hon? Harry, what's up, Harry? Harry, later. So yeah, hopefully this information will help you guys. I know it's going to help me. I'm amped up about it. What's funny is I hate reading. I hate reading. I really do. I can't stand it. It's boring for me unless it's something interesting. Like I can't read a story, but I love reading information on facts. I love history. I'll read a story about history, but to give me a book about like if you okay, it's not my internet. Um, like for instance, Gone with the Wind. It's a classic movie. I would watch it over and over and over again because it's a good movie. It's a long ass freaking movie. But if you give it to me in a book, I don't know if I could read it if I had freedom. If I was confined in an area, I'd probably read it because it would entertain me. But if you gave me a magazine on how to make money or a magazine on how to purchase stocks or buy real estate or something that I'm interested in, I'm all over it. I'm reading the fibers in the paper that hold it together. That's how intense I'll get when it comes to something like this. And I love facts. I love numbers, and I think if I ever have an opportunity before I die, and I figure I probably got another 35 years, if I'm lucky, if I'm lucky, hopefully I can fulfill my dreams and get to a level where I wanted to always be. And I think I was on a path, and I think it kind of went down a little bit, but that's okay. You learn from those mistakes, you pick yourself back up again, and you head for the for the limits. But information like this is so freaking interesting. Now that I know that they're projecting, I'm assuming that they're projecting this $1,200 stimulus check for adults is an average maybe of your 2020 tax return. I find that fascinating that they did that projecting, and they have the historical data to do that. And I'm pretty sure that's how they figured it out. So it's not like, hey, let's go to the machine and print out some more bread, because that's exactly what they did. Um, it's just that they're thinking, okay, we're going to end up having to do this anyway, but we just increased our deficit. But then we're going to get taxes hopefully back if things pick up. If things pick up, if a two-letter word that has a hell of a lot of meaning if things go awry. So I'm hoping and praying that things are good, everyone's good, and we'll all be safe about this. So I am gonna probably let you guys go shortly. I have 27 orders I need to pack, but you know what? I think I'm gonna take a break today. Spend some time with the family. I need to focus on the house. Now that I have this information, I just compressed a little bit of stress and relieve myself from the pressures of life. I will be sharing this other information once I do the research on this on your utilities, probably in the next 24 hours, so it doesn't leave anyone hanging. So if you're within the US, um, you'll be able to get this information. I ordered masks from Rosie's Closet. I got 6 of them, I think she's sending me, handmade with lobsters on them. Awesome. Shout out to Rosie's Closet over there, Crystal. I paid through PayPal with her. Hit her up on Instagram, and she said, "Yeah, just tell me what you want. I'm gonna try to see if I can get a picture of the print." So I got those coming. Looking forward to that during this time, because that seems to be an item that's kind of like really hard to gather from the stores. I also heard effective today, my state here in California is requiring, or at least in the county that I live in San Diego, is requiring that if I go outside, I need to be fully covered and protected. So I need to look into that and see what's going on. Um, and let's see. I don't know who that is. But anyway, I'm hoping to get this all sorted out and have some of this information shared with you guys so that it will also bring attention to your situation and you can utilize it to benefit you and your family or even your friend. Please share this information if you can. Let them know, and I will put the links in as soon as I close this down. So go ahead, like, subscribe if you haven't already. If you're watching this on the pre-recording, you made it this far. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. So anyway, I want to say goodbye to everybody. Be safe. Kathy, Susie, Jen, Greg, That Girl Sewing, Marie and Justin over there in the Northwest. I know you guys are hit really hard with this up there in Seattle. So I hope, Greg's running out. Hey, I heard, and I was looking for rubbing alcohol the other day for the first aid kit. And my buddy showed up. He does scooters, and he showed up with homemade sanitizer with aloe vera and rubbing alcohol. So I was like, yeah, that explains why all the rubbing alcohol was gone. So anyway, it's in Longview. Yeah, my dad's like a little bit up there, just north of Longview. So I'm a little worried, but I haven't contacted him. He hasn't contacted me. So I'm just, yeah. Anyway, I think right now my brother is probably the luckiest person out of the family. I miss him dearly. Actually, I have parts of him in a box right now in my closet still. Yeah, he's pretty lucky right now. So anyway, I'll see you guys later. And on a positive note, be safe, wash your hands, stop eating your boogers, and keep your hustle on. All right, stay tuned because there's going to be some more pre-records coming up, guys. I'm trying to entertain myself, so I do apologize for some of the content. I'm trying to put some humor into everything, and making fun. of just the situation within myself, with things that I'm doing that I wouldn't normally put on my channel. I got a video coming out tomorrow that's probably the challenge, that was going around. It was the fad at the time. But the video that's coming out, I think tomorrow, is uh, something that I've been wanting to do for a long time, and I want to get the higher up version of it and give it to my wife. Okay, because she's always saying, "Oh, I can take anything. I'm a Latina and I've been eating this stuff for years." Yeah, check it out. I couldn't get her on film because she didn't know I was filming, but I thought it was hilarious because she started showing the effects, and I was like, "Oh, really? Oh, really?" So anyway, I gotta go, guys. I appreciate your time. Take care. Be safe. Do your research. I'll put the links in down below for you so you can come back and check it out and read it for yourself. Okay. Thanks, guys. I appreciate your time. Really. Peace out.